The following program is presented in its original form. It may contain some content that does not reflect Hirotaka or Raju Nihon's corporate views and may not be suitable for all viewers. WRW characters are online nerds with entitlement issues and believe that they have a say in anything produced by their worship. You can block access to all programs and others like it using the parental controls in your WRW accounts. Wait a minute, we don't have those. And it's WRW We Rule Wrestling Season 4. Hello, Radio Internet. This is the Visible Ninja hosting this week. And of course, with me as always is that cripple of personality, the dealer of DDTs, and the lover of certain divas, Wheelchair 21.
Yes, I am here because I'm rolling down this... fuck it. I'm not even going to say what I was going to say because I was going to just make a Car Ranger reference and not many people would get that unless you know you're avid fans of Car Ranger.
That's good because I doubt few people are. Not even
I'm pretty sure because it's not even subbed yet.
Okay, anyways folks, welcome once again to WRW, your weekly recap of all things wrestling, and we're going to start off with a bit of news, which is going to be read by yours truly. First and foremost, it looks like somebody who is on Total Divas has quietly left the company. But here's the thing, it's not anybody you were hoping it was going to be. No, it was actually Jane Geddes, who was seen on the show as head of talent relations in the first 2 seasons. Apparently was also moved up to head up Triple H's office recently, but she has quietly left the company within the past 6 weeks. It's unknown why she left, but yeah, we obviously all wish her well, as she had apparently a good relationship with the Divas by all things considered. Elsewhere, it looks like WWE is making some changes to the Andre the Giant Battle Royale at WrestleMania 31. Because, as we noted, guess what? Apparently there's only going to be 20 superstars this year, instead of the originally planned 31. This is probably a good move to try to keep things moving along snappier. The current confirmed list so far is The Miz, Curtis Axel, Ryback Fandango, Adam Rose, Zack Ryder, Jack Swagger, Titus O'Neil, and Darren Young. So interesting to see what the newer, smaller Andre the Giant Battle Royale goes through. Obviously last year Cesaro won it in a pretty nice way. Also, it looks like there's been a huge boost in ticket sales for NXT ever since the debut of Finn Balor, as well as the NXT champion Kevin Owens started working the live events. So it looks like the NXT road shows are extremely popular. The next ones are coming up soon, and apparently they even set some attendance records for the venues they're at in Jacksonville and Tampa, Florida. Excellent, excellent. And it's now been confirmed that Big Show and Kane are entering the Andre the Giant Battle Royale, which is always great. Also interesting to note that SmackDown, which airs in Canada the day before it does in the United States, was 4 minutes shorter this week than usual. This is because there's apparently a scene added on just for the American audience on the Sci-Fi airing on Thursday. I wonder if Wheelchair 21 noticed there was anything interesting or out of place.
Would you like to tell me what it was?
I can't say because I did not see the American feed.
I don't know. Was the part where the Total Divas set up saying give Divas a chance showed up?
Was that in the last 4 minutes?
Somewhere near there?
Then yes, it was.
Because you don't remember seeing Summer Rae talking about...
No, actually. So, okay, that's what they did then. Because, like I said, it ended 4 minutes earlier up here in Canada. So I'm guessing they added that in for the Sci-Fi airing.
Yep. Because I asked you and you said that you saw it, but now you...
No, I thought you were talking about the earlier promo with Nikki Bella, though, so...
No, it was actually the promo where Cameron was like, give Cameron a chance, give this a chance.
Okay, so that's...
And I was like, well, they squashed it.
Okay. Anyways, continuing on, WWE has made an official announcement of where this year's SummerSlam is going to be held. And ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your asses, because it's going to be held in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, on Sunday, August 23rd.
Yay!
That's right, Cher. You might be able to go get to see SummerSlam.
SummerSlam!
That's right, folks. It's going to be Brooklyn, New York, which is an interesting choice for SummerSlam, since it's usually held somewhere where, it's sunny and nice, not, cold, bitter, and, hostile. So
Well, it's not cold in New York. It's just somewhat.
My good
warmer.
sure, all the movies and TV shows I've seen from the 1970s and 80s beg to differ.
I don't know. There was that Summer of Sam.
Seinfeld's van. Elsewhere, the big news this week, though, and this is our main kind of marquee news piece, is rumors that apparently WWE Creative is coming up with some emergency backup plans for WrestleMania should Lesnar no-show the event. Because as you know recently, there's apparently been a lot of tension between Lesnar and Vince regarding business practices and contracts, particularly regarding Lesnar and, the money that he's got coming to him. This isn't helped by the fact that Lesnar recently showed up at a recent UFC event, seemingly out of the blue, and was chatting it up with UFC owner Dana White. Dana White. Now, needless to say, this has prompted some people to start panicking within the company, which is why supposedly they've begun drafting up these emergency Lesnar as planned, which some fans have obviously began speculating what that could mean. With basically, some people are speculating that if Lesnar no-shows Mania, we could get anything from the main event being turned into a triple threat for the title to, God only knows. But apparently,
into a goddamn mini tournament bullshit.
Yeah. Although apparently now there's some word coming down that apparently that Vince isn't really worried about Lesnar no-showing it, mostly because not only if Lesnar did, he would be in breach of contract and Vince could sue him up the ass, but also because apparently Lesnar is earning such an utterly gigantic payday from appearing at WrestleMania that he'd be an idiot not to show up. Which, with the number rumored to being in the 7-digit range. So, let's just say, if you were, Lesnar might be a bit of a fool not to, turn down, a couple mil just to show up at Mania and possibly job to Reigns or some such, but as that remains to be seen. Anyways, those are the news items this week. The Chair, do you have any comments on any of our news stories?
For a couple of $1 million, I'll mass transit that shit.
Oh, yeah. My colleague, Wheelchair21, is of course referencing the infamous mass transit incident that happened in New York in 1996, I believe, where a young fan, wanting to join up with the ECW, was able to get his way somehow onto the card, under Paul Heyman's supervision, and was made some kind of stupid, kind of honeymooners, kind of like goofy bus driver character called Mass Transit, and the kid was utterly and totally destroyed. Yeah. And funnily enough, the kid then died 5 years later through complications of a gastric bypass, but yeah, let's just say the Mass Transit incident, it's something that, some ECW fans tend to want to forget.
Mass Transit. I don't know why, but now I think I might start a chant in Brooklyn if I go to SummerSlam.
But okay, I guess that's my question before you start commenting. Are you going to go to SummerSlam now that it's going to be in Brooklyn?
If I have the monies.
Since this is the second largest pay-per-view of the year, and it's relatively.
It's
close
actually
to
one of the big four. It's one of the big.
Yeah, I know, and relatively speaking, it's quite close to you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've gone to.
Even though you are in upstate New York, I will
things
that, but
about it.
Like you are in upstate New York, so you're not like in the city, but it's still pretty close to you though, like geographically.
Oh, true that, man. I mean, I probably will try to go. Probably do some coverage for us. Try to do some live tweets, kind of things.
Live from SummerSlam, WRW.
Because you know how No DQ likes to be the live guys. 5-7 years running since it was out in LA. But since it's not in LA, looks like we'll do it this year. Unless they seemingly have a guy in New York.
Which they probably will. They'll probably just fly somebody out.
That's true, but they're a really small group from what I know. They're just like a small group like we are. But, I will say, with all the news, the entire adding on the 5 minutes, oh my god, they squashed Give Divas a Chance with that promo. I don't ever want to see that promo ever again.
I will say, I like the earlier comment that Nikki was making about it, but by the sounds of it, this promo sounds like bullshit.
A lot of promo sounds like bullshit.
Don't get me wrong, I support Give Divas a Chance, but Yeah, it sounds like they went about it kind of the wrong way.
Um, the whole Lesnar no show, yeah, like Lesnar would be stupid to not show. Like, why would you no show when you have so much money to show? Like, that would be
Exactly.
kind.
Yeah, because even if he has problems with Vince regarding like business deals and such, like like if you're getting thrown, let's just ballpark a figure, say 5 mil, to show up at one event and wrestle one guy for let's be generous, let's say maybe a half hour. You'd be an idiot to put that in jeopardy.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't jeopardize that. I mean, like, do like maybe 30 minutes, 20-minute match. Why would I throw out, $5 million? No. You could take that money and go and buy yourself a brand new car, probably with that. You could save it, and
You can buy yourself a private island with that kind of money.
you could buy yourself, Los
Not one in the
Angeles
Caribbean
as
or
Lex
something, but probably one
no,
like
you could buy.
Beast.
No, wait, no. It would be like you could buy yourself your own, area in California, like Lex Luthor did, or when he wanted Australia. That's how much you can make with $5 million. LOL. Remember the Superman movie? LOL.
Yeah.
But nah. I gotta say, a lot of the news has just been pretty stupid lately. I mean, it's not been too big, not been too bad. I think the biggest thing, though, was the Lesnar possibility of, no showing. I think that's our biggest subject that we had on the card. Other than that, an interview did confirm Dean Ambrose is in that box. And when I mean that box, I mean Renee Young.
Yeah, I didn't want to really mention it, but yeah, it's confirmed that Renee is dating Dean Ambrose. So
yeah, Ambrose is in deep, real deep. So yeah.
It's also worth noting that Renee actually hosted the VH1 morning show this week, and it was apparently she actually did quite a good job. And
All right.
and also interestingly, recently she had kind of a mini fan Q&A on her Twitter account, and a fan asked her if she was planning to get into the ring, as a diva anytime soon. And she jokingly tweeted back in like Frankenstein kind of speech, like me more good with words.
Aww. I want to see her.
So yeah, I don't think Renee will be getting into the ring as a competitor anytime soon.
It's so disgusting because she could probably actually. I'm pretty sure WWE would just belt to her because of how many people love her. The belt will be dropped
To the young.
Oh, hey, Metal. Without spoiling anything, how did you like the whole thing with her and R-Truth? That were you kind of hoping she would take him up on his offer?
Kind of.
I was kind of hoping for it. Okay, then. I think that concludes our news, unless you have some thoughts and opinions on what happened.
Well, really, other than what I've already said, yeah, Lesnar would be an idiot to pass up, probably not multi-million, but like $1 million payday to Mania. So there's probably no worry about, him not no-showing, despite, him and Vince. They're both really stubborn men, but in the end, I'm sure they'll come to some kind of agreement or something. They'll work something out, because neither of them are really stupid. So, yeah. Other news, not really a whole lot, other than just how they're trimming down the Andre the Giant Battle Royale down to 20 men instead of 31. And like I said, I'm guessing that they're doing that maybe to just make it a bit shorter, maybe just improve the pace a little bit, which might be a good idea. I mean, there's going to be some big guys in there. You'll probably want to get them out as fast as possible. So, I don't know.
We have a good full. I was going to say, when we have a good full list, that's probably when we'll be able to make better predictions. Hopefully,
yeah,
the time of our
we know
show.
some of the list. Like we know like Kane and Big Show are in there now, but so our guys like the new primetime players are in there. Miz is in there. Basically, if you're a mid-carder, you're probably in this match. So,
with a few exceptions.
Well, yeah, because I'm sure Zack Ryder's going to wind up in there. And
hey, how did you know he was in? He already said his first elimination will be Adam Rose if it's not him himself. He's like, I will eliminate Adam Rose before I have the actual first elimination. And someone was right. So you're actually going to eliminate a guy before you're the second elimination. Exactly.
He's going to take somebody down before he goes down.
Someone will go down before I go down.
He's kind of like already resigned himself that he isn't going to win, but he's like, I'm going to take somebody down before I go. Okay, other than that, no, I guess that was the news this week, and I guess we'll move on to the cards. If the chair would be so nice as to take Raw, that would be super.
Well, I got to do NXT too, so all right, I'll consider doing Raw and NXT.
And I will handle the SmackDown.
You will handle the Smacketh of the Down with the promo that you don't know of, because it looks like we're going to get...
I might have to look that up on YouTube here.
You might want to look it up on YouTube if you have the chance. I don't think it's probably on YouTube yet. Since
I will have a look, because you never know. Like, shit gets on there pretty quick.
Yeah. All right, so Raw opens up with a Rollins promo and a Reigns promo, pretty much talking about WrestleMania, talking about the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and technically hyping up the whole daily show on Raw scenario, which we'll get to later. First match, Dean Ambrose versus Bad News Barrett, in which Ambrose is able to pick up a pinfall victory over Bad News Barrett due to the fact that R-Truth, has to hand over the belt to Harper, distracting Bad News Barrett, leading to another person now in control of his belt. Then we get to see Miz's hyped commercial, which is nothing more than, Viagra. Yeah, called Niagara. And it was pathetic. We have another Bray Wyatt promo hyping this match at WrestleMania of him versus the Phenom. Oh wait, he's not undefeated anymore. Undertaker. Match 2. Cesaro, Tyson Kidd, Natalya versus the Usos and Naomi. Well, let's just say the Usos actually won this one because Kidd didn't want to take 2 super kicks to the face, so he purposely cheated out, tagged in his wife, and she got rolled up for a pin. She got pretty pissed about that. John Cena comes out and decrees he will be in the Andre the Giant Battle Royale since Rusev will not give him a rematch. However, Steph puts him in the place and says, how dare you, Cena, decide what you want to do here and there and everywhere, even though this is an open challenge Battle Royale. How dare you try to go the easy route to make it a WrestleMania moment when you should fight your way to get your rematch with Rusev. So pretty much it's like, unless you get a rematch with Rusev, you ain't having a match on WrestleMania. Then Curtis Axel comes out and pretty much says...
Axelmania.
Yeah, he goes on about his Axelmania and saying about how he could defeat John Cena, to where they have a match and John Cena just destroys Curtis Axel via submission. Rusev comes out, pretty much taunts Cena, makes Cena feel bad. Then Triple H makes an example out of Booker T, saying how he could fire anyone at a split second at a time, but he's not going to fire Booker because he's just an example. Match 4. Divas Championship match. Nikki versus Paige. Paige wins via disqualification due to Brie Bella getting involved, and AJ Lee returns, which ironically I was able to call.
This is true.
I mean, it's not like they were in her hometown or nearby.
Well, they were in her home state.
Yeah. New Jersey. America's asshole. Shots fired. Anyways, we're on to the Daily Show with Seth Rollins, with his guest, Jon Stewart, where Jon Stewart cuts one of the best promos ever for a celebrity guest host, because his promo was actually about wrestling. What? I mean, it's not like Jon Stewart's actually a real fan of wrestling. I mean, who would have ever thought? A celebrity that's a fan of wrestling, that knows his wrestling talk, and can discuss it. It's not like it's ever appeared in any of his comedy acts, or in a couple of times in movies that he's technically helped written where he had cameo roles, and other stuff like that either. And it's not like Mick Foley's a good friend of his. Nope. This was just highly scripted by the corporate above. Nope. This was Jon Stewart here. And during this whole fallout, since he kind of made fun of Seth Rollins and his comeuppance, except his small comeuppance, this led to Seth getting a little irked, wanting to get his hands on Jon Stewart, when Randy Orton magically appeared for no apparent reason. To which then, Seth Rollins' comeuppance got kicked in the small comeuppance, and Jon Stewart got away clean. Hey, Rollins, we know you're a woman. It's not there. That kick didn't hurt. Quit bitching and moaning. Match 5. Harper versus Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan wins by submission. It was a pretty decent match, but it didn't feel like the crowd was into it. At that time, this is when more of the, how I should say, belt hopping happened. Because Ziggler then got his hands on the Intercontinental Championship, and it hyped up the ladder match, signifying that, yeah, he might win this belt, and Daniel Bryan may also be a participant in this ladder match. We then found out who our next Hall of Fame inductee is, which is no one other than Medusa or Alundra Blaze. Yes, she's going into the Hall of Fame. Pretty exciting. A lot of people don't really like her as Blaze. People prefer her as the name Medusa, but she made a bigger name for herself as Alundra Blaze than Medusa, even though the name's catchier, you know? Medusa, Greek monster, you know, former priest of Athena, or I forget the... Wait, she wasn't actually Athena's one of her priests, if I recall. Or Aphrodite's, whatever. A great Heyman promo. Amazing, wonderful, kick-ass, cool. And match 6, Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins wins by pinfall. However, Roman just lays out the authority with spears galore. And, well, a suicide dive over the top rope. Crazy, 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 crazy. Visible Ninja, your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. Raw this week was actually pretty good. I mean, we got a nice opening thing there with Rollins and Reigns. Kind of obviously leading up to the big WrestleMania conflagration. I thought it was pretty good. The first match, actually, of Ambrose versus Bad News Barrett was getting pretty good. Barrett can really bring it these days, but, of course, Dean was able to, of course, invoke the lunatic fringe, even though we know he hates that. But he was able to get the pin. And, yeah, I gotta say, I still love this whole kind of... almost kind of a game of keep away with the IC title. It's just hilarious. Like, it's... the Miz commercial was just fantastic. Because you too could use some Niagara. Only if your erection just lasts for 4 more hours. Because, I think Seth Rollins can, use some of that. Don't you, Will? Anyways, yeah, moving on. Next up, a decent promo from Bray Wyatt, who, of course, has not yet heard from The Taker, though I'm sure he will, too. Cesaro Kid and Natty versus the Usos and Naomi in a mixed person tag match, which was actually somewhat decent. Of course, the Usos were able to pull out a pinfall, because, Natty was kind of being natty and didn't really do a whole lot. Cesaro Kid actually did some pretty good stuff. Then we got the phenomenal John Cena promo, which... I gotta say, I just loved it with Cena basically coming out whining, I want a match at WrestleMania. Steph's like, hell no, John, you ain't getting one unless Rusev gives you a rematch. Rusev's like, nope. Nope. And it's even funny because even Curtis Axel was actually getting a better fan reaction than John Cena was. But then Cena just kind of took Axel's foot and rammed it right up his own ass. Pretty much. Yeah, Trips making an example of Booker T, kind of firing him, then not firing him, just to say, hey, I could pretty much Benoit anybody in this company I want to. Why? Because I'm triple goddamn H. And, I'm just saying, he probably should have actually filed Booker, but then, rehired him later in the night or on SmackDown or something, but, yeah. The Divas match, again, this was probably the result of the whole Give Divas a Chance thing, since the Divas are out there for, 6 times longer than they've been in the past, few months, and it was a damn good match. I mean, yeah, it ended by DQ because of Brie, and then, AJ came rolling back. But this was a damn good match. I mean, Paige really brought it, getting Nikki into the PTO before, Brie interfered, but it was still just a phenomenal match. But yeah, AJ had a bit of an interview there. It was not too bad, good old waifu kind of stuff, although she's no longer the waifu of a certain wheelchair-bound man. Yeah. The Daily Show promo was just, again, it was phenomenal. Stewart really knows his shit, and he just cut Rollins to shreds. And it was great, and yeah, I really loved how he, kicked Rollins in the balls, because that was just fantastic.
Dick kick.
That was just fantastic. Yeah.
Dick kick.
The Luke Harper versus Daniel Bryan was an okay match, with Bryan getting the submission. Good old Ziggles. Always love him. Hall of Fame, yeah, Medusa's going to the Hall of Fame. Alexander Blaze, the one who infamously dumped the WWF Women's Championship into the trash on an episode of Nitro. But still, though, she was a pretty good wrestler for her day, so, great to see her going in there. Heyman cut a pretty decent promo, too. This was actually, even though, some people suspect that the corporate was trying to shut him up, giving him bum mics. But, he did a good promo, and he even tossed a shot at some of Lillian's recent mumblings, even though this was apparently on her birthday, so, yeah, way to go. And her main event, which
well,
is...
You know how Heyman is. He always takes pop shots on people's birthdays.
Yeah. And, of course, the main event, which is Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, which was a decent main event with Seth managing to pin Roman. Obviously J&J Security probably helped, so... Yeah, but you know what? I love this Raw. I mean, it had some of the best promos I've seen in a while. Some of the matches were pretty damn solid, too, especially the Divas match, which is, kind of a weird thing to hear myself say. Whew. Cena just destroying Axel was great. And not to mention, like I said, the promos were just phenomenal. And we got some solid matches, so I liked it. What about you?
Well, I already gave my thoughts a bit, I think, while talking about it, but
Well, anything else you liked it?
Yeah, well, no, I gotta say, our opening was great. I think the promo was good. We had a great opening bout. We had the whole title belt swapping hands thing concluding. It's going to be carried on all the way up until like the week before WrestleMania. I think that's the best storyline for the mid card ever has had in like the last couple of years. I think the Cesaro Kid versus Uso storyline is kind of ridiculous, but at least it's doing something with them because they've utterly done nothing. They've practically done nothing for them in the last couple of weeks, months. In general. Now, the Cena promo with Stephanie, amazing. Like, I was so happy when she kind of told him off. It was, it was kind of stupid, but it was all storyline scripted. But it was entertaining nonetheless. It was around here when the show kind of got pretty foggy, because, I knew Paige wasn't going to win. It was going to be a DQ. The Triple H promo was bitching, but, it was in here until Jon Stewart showed up and pretty much just tore Rollins a new one was amazing. And the whole thing where Ziggler climbed the ladder and signified he wants to be IC champion again was probably one of the more magnificent pieces from the entire show. Because, I mean, that shotgun super kick came out of nowhere. Like, Harper turns around. Like, Metal, you and Oga both called it, but, it was still, how he clipped him was out of nowhere. Heyman shoot promo, cool. I think the promos were better than the matches this week. It was one of those
I would actually have to agree with that.
The promos were exceptional.
Because we had some decent matches this week, especially, like I said, the Divas match, but, yeah, the promos were just top-notch.
And then that spear from out of nowhere was,
Oh, yeah, that was great, too.
When he caught Rollins after the match. I highly enjoyed it. But I think, though, that it was just missing something. I felt like the fact that, a lot of these matches went to the heels was kind of crazy. I think we only had, one or two face wins. Or at least if the face won, it wasn't cleanly. I think Cena... Oh, no, actually, everything was face until the last match. It just felt weird because of how they played up the cards, I'd have to guess. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But still interesting. So I guess we'll move on to NXT. Am I correct? We have nothing more to say about Raw?
Correct.
Alright. Due to the fact that Alex Riley was attacked by Kevin Owens, or Kevin Steen, whatever you want to call him, last week, Alex is irate. He is pissed. He wants to fight him. Alex Riley wants a match. However, William Regal said, you have a choice, Alex. Either you can be a commentator, or you can be a superstar. You can't do both. And Alex went back to commentary for the night, because he still had time to think out his plans, even though we know what happens if you've seen the spoilers or were at the tapings. Match 1, Adam Rose makes a return to fight Tyler Breeze. Adam Rose is cheered, where on the main card he's booed. And he actually loses to Tyler Breeze by a crazy upset defeat. He just walked right into a super kick. Didn't see it coming. Breeze picks up a pinfall. Then we have a promo, with... I like to call him Team Swaff. Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy. Because they're talking about the new NXT champions, Blake and Murphy. Alexa Bliss also has a promo because she's back from her really bad nose injury. Like the last time she was here, Sasha Banks like kicked her so hard in the face and then locked her into the crippler crossface and got it around the nose that it really caused some huge damage to her nose, causing that she couldn't wrestle for a while. So she says that she's gonna gun for Sasha Banks because she wants payback. Blake and Murphy have a match with two jobbers, and they pick up a pinfall victory. These guys have been on a roll since, the last couple of months. They've been huge jobbers until now, at least every time I saw them. A promo backstage with Charlotte and Bayley, and then as soon as Charlotte leaves, Emma kind of shows up, and her and Bayley are talking, and then Emma kind of tells Bayley she has to toughen up and stop being the kitty goody two-shoes, because supposedly that's why Emma got kicked back down to NXT was... Well, Emma sucks. And now Emma's jilted because she's no longer on Raw or SmackDown, or I should say the main roster in general. She is just pissed. But we don't know if that's going to lead into a whole heel angle yet, but we're only estimating. An amazing Rhino promo. I mean, this Rhino promo was the shit. It pretty much hyped his career up until now, as well as his return, and it is just purely amazing that I love the way that they're treating NXT. It's pretty much as if these guys kind of never left, even though you can obviously tell by the footage used in their promos. We have a match with Baron Corbin versus another jobber, which he beats. But at this time, this is when Kevin Owens comes to confront A-Rai and pretty much forces A-Rai to want to become a wrestler again. A-Rai makes the decision, and he's going to start by fighting CJ Perkins, or CJ Parker, next week on NXT. Match 4. Bull Dempsey has an upset loss to Solomon Crowe, the newest wrestler on NXT, the newest ad set they have. He's just shown up briefly, attacking a couple of guys, and now he's won. Our main event, and now, everybody, you're going to have your mind blown if you're used to the main roster crap. Main event was for the NXT Women's Championship.
What?
Sasha Banks defended against Charlotte Flair, and it was a hellraiser to the extent that you thought Sasha was going to win by submission, then Charlotte came back out of nowhere, and Sasha got Charlotte with a roll-up and cheated like Charlotte's father would by putting her feet up on the ropes for a pinfall victory. So, the women main evented NXT, and Sasha retains the championship. Visible Ninja, what are your thoughts?
Well, once again, not being able to actually watch the show, I can only say so much. But yeah, it's mostly going to be about the whole thing, the Emma thing, because yeah, I mean, again, don't get me wrong, like I like Emma, she definitely has talent, but she was being wasted on the main roster, unfortunately so many other wrestlers, especially those who came up from NXT. But yeah, I like it how they're kind of playing this kind of angle where she's been kind of busted down to NXT. She's a little salty about it, and she might be, out to prove herself. Which means she'll probably do just about anything, which I kind of like the sound of. And yeah, like my God, we actually had the women's title being the main event. Like my God, what is this freaking bizarro world?
Is this when Trish Stratus and Lita were on the main roster?
Yeah, like is this a bizarre world where women's wrestling, is actually matters?
Is it 2002?
My God, I want to book a ticket to this bizarre world because it sounds awesome.
You'll have to go to Florida.
Or get the WWE Network, which will soon be available on my on my service provider up here in Canada. So
here's the question though: when you get it though, won't it contradict though with SmackDown?
It probably would. Yeah. I think it would actually clash.
So you would have to watch the rerun later on the night.
Yeah, but that's kind of a small price to pay, I think.
I'm pretty sure it is a small price to pay. Because once NXT airs, once NXT airs, it replays like 4 times over the course of the next day and a half.
Yeah, but anyways, that's about all I have to say about NXT without actually watching it. Is I like I like the sounds of what they were doing with Emma, because, like I said, like I actually do really like Emma, both, as a wrestler technically, and because she's a hot Australian chick, but still, and yeah, God only knows how long it's gonna be before we see the Divas match being the main event, again.
I'm gonna guess sometime soon because Triple H is just trying to stick it to McMahon. Yeah.
I'm sure if they get a really good storyline going and they really want to put one of these gals over the top, I'm sure that they probably will eventually. I'm not
I think.
Here's the thing, I'm saying that it will eventually be the main event again, but it'll probably wind up being on SmackDown and not Raw.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this right now. I think the last time we had a main event was when Paige was still on NXT.
Mm.
Yeah, that was the last time I think a women's bout main event did the show. Was when Paige was still amongst the NXT roster.
Wouldn't surprise me, yeah. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about this mysterious unicorn of a show called NXT.
Yeah, I don't really think I gave my thoughts really.
Okay, so I guess
but
let's move on.
Well, wait, wait. No, I was saying I don't think I gave my full thoughts, but all I can say is
anything else then, I guess.
Like Metal says, the main event is where it was at. Charlotte and Sasha, the last 3 matches they've had together in singles competition has been star-studded. It's literally the epitome of women's wrestling. It's like watching the Knockouts division or watching when Trish, Lita, and Victoria and them were just destroying each other. The biggest thing is Alex Riley's comeback. I mean, the last time I think we saw Alex Riley was when he was on Raw, actually wrestling, before he got that, out of nowhere injury. I mean, Visible Ninja, you remember the last time Alex Riley was on TV, he and Miz had a huge beef because the Miz just abused the hell out of him.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
And now, Alex Riley's going to come back, and he's kind of gunning for Kevin Owens. And it's a great way to build him up because he was going to be WWE's next big thing that was supposed to be how should I say, he's supposed to be a new Dolph Ziggler or something they were trying to hope on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a little far and outrageous, but yeah, that was kind of the idea they were kind of building off of. But I'm happy about that. I'm looking forward to another thing that was promoted. During NXT's airing, there was a commercial saying that on March 25th, we will see the championship bout of #1 contender Finn Balor, formerly known as Prince Devitt at New Japan Pro Wrestling, against Kevin Owens, formerly Kevin Steen. Just soak that in for a minute, Visible Ninja. Just soak that in.
I am.
Devitt versus Steen.
Kill, Steen, kill.
So, that's something we have something to look forward to the week of WrestleMania. That's something to also fear because it might be better than WrestleMania.
I'm doubtful because they usually they bring out all the stops for WrestleMania. So
true.
Unless it's a really really horrible one like WrestleMania 4 or something like that. I don't think it'll be that bad.
What was WrestleMania 4?
It was the first one from Atlantic City.
Now you're gonna make me go watch this on the network.
But what I recall by watching it was fairly kind of uneventful. I think the only real good match was Andre versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh, so you're saying this was kind of like when people watched allegedly WrestleMania 8 or 9 when they were
I'm kind of fuzzy. It's been a while since I've seen WrestleMania 4. I'd have to go watch again. But what I remember, it was kind of blah. Boring, uneventful kind of.
Alright, then we'll move on to SmackDown.
Alright, folks, and I hope you're ready to get your move along. Woo. Anyways, to start off with them hyping up the Intercontinental Ladder match, which is going to be awesome, and R-Truth stealing the belt yet again, because, that belt has kind of become kind of the hoe of the company right now. It's kind of been with everybody. First match of the evening was Kid and Cesaro versus Los Matadores, but no surprise, Kid and Cesaro were able to beat it, with Cesaro getting a pinfall on Diego, I believe. So it was an okay match. Next up, we get Kane and Big Show cutting a promo on Randy Orton because, he's a renegade now because he was Authority, but now he's opposing them pretty much because he got screwed over. Next up, we had Ryback versus Kane, which was actually an okay match. Ryback pulling out the good old meat hook and eventually the spear, take Kane down with a pinfall. Next up, we had a bit of another part of the gauntlet match with Ryback facing off against the Big Show, but of course Big Show is able to take Ryback down with who's somewhat fatigued with a pinfall, which is great. Next, we had Bray Wyatt cutting a promo with the Urn. Yes, folks. That Urn, the one that CM Punk kind of fumbled and dropped during his promo leading up to
Okay, that was probably the greatest botch, unexpected in wrestling.
Oops.
Like even Punk himself thought God was gonna strike him down.
Anyways, we got Bray Wyatt cutting a promo with that. Still waiting for Taker to call him out, and according to all things considered, it sounds like he might not, at least until Mania itself. Next up, we had a Divas match with Brie Bella versus the newly returned AJ, with AJ causing Brie to tap out like a biatch. So AJ's back in top form. We got a promo from Daniel Bryan, because he's kind of out of the main title picture, but he's sort of kind of sitting on the periphery right now. Next up, we had the New Day versus the team of Miz and Mizdow. Of course, New Day pulling off the pinfall. It was kind of eh. We got an interview with Rowan, which is actually half decent, which was okay. Next up, we got a Rusev versus Swagger match, and Rusev pretty much took Swagger to the cleaners and made him tap out like a little girl, which is interesting. Axelmania cut a promo, and he seems to actually really be gaining a lot of steam, which is kind of weird and creepy. Anyways, we had our main event of the evening, which was Ziggler and Ambrose versus Harper and Bad News Barrett, with good old Ziggles being able to pull off a pin since he's able to pull another one out of his ass. And we kind of ended the night with Daniel Bryan and Stardust cutting a very bizarre and I'd almost say out of place promo, but hey, whatever. And then, of course, we got the exclusive 4 Minutes to America, which apparently had additional, give Divas a chance promo.
That was actually way before the main event.
Oh, well, whatever. And I'm still trying to hunt that down, actually. And that was SmackDown this week. So, Chair, any thoughts on SmackDown?
The ladder match promo is, like I said, during Raw, the greatest thing for the mid-card right now. I mean, it's showcasing a lot of former IC champions that want the belt back, and it's kind of bringing back the prestige. I mean, it's really amazing how they're building up this storyline, or at least how some smarks and some, still nicer members of the IWC are actually accepting this whole thing. They're loving it, they're enjoying it, and it's actually just building up, the viewership into that area of the division. So I love the intro, and I love how it keeps kind of closing the shows, or at least near the closing. I love the part when R-Truth was like, here, Renee, you take the belt. Come on, it looks good. And there's that part where Renee was looking around going, should I? No, I can't do it. Nope, can't do it. Nope, not a good idea. Nope. And then he was like, well, then you hand it off to Gene Ambrose. Dean Ambrose, I don't care who it is. Just hand it off to somebody. I loved it. I like that Ryback kind of got, how should I say this? Ryback got fed. He won a match, and then he got beat by a match. Like he took on Kane, then Kane helped Big Show beat him, so, it was weird. It was interesting. The Bray Wyatt promo with the urn. Like I said, after talking to Oga, the storyline kind of makes sense. Bray is going to now destroy the soul, as now Lesnar broke the body. Lesnar broke the body, Lesnar broke the streak, Bray Wyatt's going to destroy the soul. Makes sense. The Bella versus AJ match. Amazing. Brie and AJ, great match, good, and it worked effectively how they brought in Nikki and Paige, really to build up this rivalry. Interesting, and I overly enjoyed it. I loved how Miz and Mizdow are finally going to split up. It's really good. They're hyping that correctly. Axelmania, I'm guessing Axel's going to defeat Rusev. I have some sick feeling Axel's going to beat Rusev because of John Cena, and he's going to get his undefeated streak due to Axel because of John Cena, and Cena is going to then get his rematch with Rusev at WrestleMania. Could you believe that, Metal?
No, I couldn't.
I'm calling it now. Rusev is going to be defeated by Axel because of John Cena, and it's going to be put down in the record book cleanly that Axel beat Rusev.
Oh Lord, that would be insane if that did happen.
And that's how Cena's going to get his rematch at WrestleMania for the belt. Now, if that happens, would you be shocked?
Well, not now that that you put it out there. No, I won't be shocked. But if it does, if it happens, though, it's going to be interesting though if it does work out that way.
Think about it. Loses cleanly to Axel due to interference by Cena. He's pissed because he's now he is defeated. So he's lost to somebody under him. So he would want to, get his revenge on John Cena because John Cena did it to him. It's only logical, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. That main event wasn't really amazing, but the fact that Daniel Bryan got the IC belt and then Stardust popped up out of nowhere, I didn't see that coming. I actually thought it was going to be a clean kind of ending with Bryan holding the belt like Ziggler did, but nope, Stardust. Now, does that mean Goldust is going to get involved? Goldust is also a former IC champion. You remember that, Visible Ninja?
Yes, Goldust. I do, actually.
So do you think Goldust will get into this ladder match?
It would not surprise me if he does interject himself now.
And it's all because of Cody being also a former IC champion.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I think that was probably one of the best aspects, was that surprise appearance by Stardust.
Yeah, like you said, he just came the hell out of nowhere and pretty much he pretty much upped the freak out quotient for that promo.
Bryan gets it, everyone's happy, then Stardust shows up, and I'm sitting there like, whoever wrote this, cheers. Cheers to you. Like, I just thought of the meme about the whole thing with Leonardo DiCaprio with the cheers bullshit.
This one's to Gatsby, you. Yeah.
Yeah, how everyone uses that, this one's to you. Worked perfectly. I was like, amazing. I know people were booing, but I liked it. It worked. Overall, quite amazing. So, Visible Ninja, let's talk about our Superstar of the Week.
Let's. Now, we did actually have a bit of a discussion about who we were going to choose. There was some talk of a few, like Dolph Ziggler for his phenomenal performance on SmackDown, possibly even being Stephanie McMahon for putting Cena in his place. But in the end, I think we both agreed that it was Rusev's week, I thought.
Because he didn't get kicked in the dick.
That is true, and because he resisted Cena's pleas for a rematch at Mania, making Cena to be a little bitch, and he also then put Swagger down pretty hard, so yeah.
He put him down real hard. But, so, how do you like this whole storyline, though, with Rusev Cena, the Visible
I like
I know we talked about it on the Fastlane show.
It's kind of like, I don't know, like, it's almost not processing in my head that Cena isn't getting what he wants. He is not getting what he wants. And he's like, I want a rematch at WrestleMania. Nope. Authority, give me a match at WrestleMania. Nope. Not unless Rusev agrees. Rusev, give me a match. Nope. Hell, like you said, he'll probably wind up actually facing Axel, freaking Curtis Axel at this point. And he'll lose to Curtis Axel.
And then he'll forcibly give Cena his rematch because Cena fucked him.
Exactly. And that's the hilarious thing, because, like you said, like when we saw when after Cena kind of got told, nope, like 3 times in the span of like one promo, he kind of took it out on Axel, and Axel kind of got his ass royally, like I said, basically got his own foot put up his own ass. So, yeah, it looks like Cena might be getting ready to unleash the thugonomics on a bitch. Yeah,
it was kind of like that time that Beth Phoenix royally raped Melina in an I Quit match. I mean, when he put him in that STF, like, I literally thought Cena was gonna kill Curtis Axel, and I was like, no, not another perfect. No. That would have been a grave day for us all.
It would have.
And that wouldn't even been a mass transit. That would have just been destructive.
Yeah.
But, I mean, having Rusev, as our Superstar of the Week kind of makes sense. I mean, he really put away Swagger. Him and Lana did have a good promo. He kicked Cena in the dick, which, now since he kicked someone in the dick, everyone's getting kicked in the dick. Like, it's just been a chain of kicks in the dick.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, I think we've had, like, a total of 3 or 4 since then. And that was, like, about a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't 3 or 4 kicks, we've just been seeing the same old kick replayed over and over again, which is enjoyable.
Good old Jon Stewart giving Rollins a shot to the nuts.
It's so incredible that Fox News even talked about it.
Like, they did, which was hilarious.
On all of their talk shows. I gotta say, hell, Jon Stewart should have just got the Superstar of the Week, kicked Rollins in the dick, and cut a promo better than any superstar or diva.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but no, Rusev, it's really good how they're finally building this up, and I thought that they were just gonna feed him to Cena. They're actually playing a little game of, like, putting the old-fashioned carrot on the string in front of the donkey and, like, taunting it.
Totally.
They're really playing that game real good. And I'm wondering how much more they can play it up.
Mm.
I don't really know. I know one idea with this whole thing, because of Rusev being our Superstar of the Week and this whole huge rivalry with Cena. Another idea was John Cena may attempt to do some crazy shenanigans out of the page of, like, Edge and all the other ruthless aggression things. Like, you either pretend that you're going to put, like, a woman through a table to force the guy. So a lot of people believe he's going to do something to Lana to get Rusev to fall into the joke or other stuff. But I feel like something's gonna come out of it.
Well, here's the thing.
Rusev's gonna build up.
Here's the thing. Like, I know apparently it's been reported that Lana is going to be taking a break from TV for a while. So it wouldn't surprise me if maybe Cena does something off screen, or maybe.
Off screen could lead to anything.
These days, it's true.
But no, I mean, like, Rusev really did a good week. I think if he would have had just an actual match on Raw, it would really solidify why we had such a huge debate on why he would be our Superstar this week. We had so many choices and it was hard to choose. Nevertheless, I think it's about time we talk about our final topic of the show, about the whole give Divas a chance, which we said we'd talk about on today's show. Yeah.
Where should we really start, though? Because
should we start about how we were kind of shocked it just magically showed up over the course of, what was it, around the time of last week's recording?
Yeah, because obviously the IWC, again, they love Divas. They want to see them, kind of get the respect and the time that they are down in NXT, which we've obviously been hearing about, main roster being jealous that, NXT gets, so much more freedom, like the Divas, so much more freedom and so much more time to work on, great storyline matches, whereas main roster, even though they make far more money than the NXT Divas do, they're essentially forced into these, like, quick garbage matches that don't do shit. So it was interesting to hear that. Then we heard the Give Divas a Chance thing starting to kick up. Then we had AJ basically complaining to Steph on Twitter about, what she thinks is wrong with the Divas division. Then we had Vince commenting that things are changing, so stay tuned. And then we got just the absolutely phenomenal match on Raw between Paige and Nikki, which was, like, again, it was like 6 times longer than any match the Divas have had recently, because there was actually a commercial break in between. Divas on the main shows are getting longer matches, and longer matches, give a better chance for the matches to tell a story, instead of just being quick, meaningless, like, piss breaks. which people have essentially been treating them as, kind of up to this point. Just from here, like, hopefully just things continue to get only better from here, because, well, hey, let's face it, good Divas division means that, the company itself is doing better, because then maybe they'll start recognizing, some of their more talented individuals and utilizing them a little better.
Yeah, because the funny thing was when it popped up, it showed up briefly after Monday Night Raw, and it followed through all the way up until when we recorded Thursday or Friday of last week. And we were kind of surprised at how well it was received, and only about 48 to 72 hours after the event. We said we weren't going to talk about it on last week's show. We moved it over to this week's show. And the one thing that I think was the biggest kind of instance was hearing what the Bellas had to say about AJ's comments on pay was kind of realistic how they approached it. But at the same time, it always seems like AJ is never on the same page as the other divas. And I gotta say, it's always funny how they will agree that they should be in the ring more, featured a bit more, to the extent of how, like, Lita and Trish were, Michelle McCool and Melina. They say, like, they should be allowed to perform matches that their, fellow Diva alumnists have been able to perform. They feel like they should at least be given the full 8 to, 14 minutes that the older divas used to have, at least at their maximum. And I can agree with that. However, the funny thing is the main roster tends to hate AJ for the comments of how they're paid and how they are usually structured. Because for some reason, and I'm guessing it's more or less people that are like Nikki, Brie, and a few of the other not-so-talented divas are pissed, is because AJ is a fan. She's a true fan, but at the same time, she worshipped, the divas that you and I grew up with, Visible Ninja. Mm-hmm. So I could see why she has kind of like a super alpha, kind of feminist workplace for her, where she wants more spotlight for herself, as well as the other women. A lot of people also believe it's just also who she's married to, that now she has a chip on her shoulder. So, seeing the whole give divas a chance, I understand that a lot of the divas say this is a man's world, but at the same time they're also saying they know their place, but they want more time in their place, like their senior, the senior alumni, mm-hmm. divas had. So it's kind of a weird thing. They want to be focused like the old ones, but they don't care about the pay. But it seems kind of jumbled, don't you think, when hearing a lot of their views?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
They know that they're not in the they know that wrestling's a man's world, but
it's a male-dominated sport. But on the other hand, though, the company could be handling their women's division far better, though.
But at the same time, they're complaining, though, that it's a man's world, yet they're also saying we deserve more time. So now they're kind of arguing against their opposition, where they say they understand and believe it, but at the same time, they're like, but we deserve our time. It's one of those ones where I kind of don't see, because of how they structured it when they worded it, or how they said it to the in the interview. They were like, they understand it and they're okay with it, but at the same time, it could be better. So it's kind of like saying you like being abused, but you want it to stop. It's one of those weird ones. It's hard to explain. Either you like being abused or you like being a drunk, but you want to quit being a drunk. It's kind of like a bad habit. You know how I'm trying to explain it?
Mm-hmm. I hate to pull this out, but it's kind of like those hillbilly domestic abuse victims you see on Cops. They keep kind of showing up. I can't quit him. I love him. Even though they keep beating them, they still kind of keep going back.
Because that's the thing. It's they keep beating back the divas, but they're saying they're okay with it, but they deserve more.
Well, like you've been saying, they realize this is a male-dominated sport, but ultimately they want a bigger piece of the pie, since other promotions are giving their women's wrestlers far more respect and time and pay. And even, you know, brand within their own company with NXT is giving the Divas on there, again, far better matches and far longer matches, you know, despite the fact they're not getting as much pay.
But could you say, like, the argument here is they're trying to reach for something that the company doesn't want to do anymore, but yet they understand the company just doesn't want to do
well,
it?
No,
like,
it's interesting.
Like, you see what I'm trying to say, right?
The company does, but that's mostly Vince's doing, though, because Vince, I get it's been said that Vince has always kind of felt that women's wrestling is at best kind of a side attraction, which is why he doesn't treat it very seriously. Whereas Triple H has, you know, definitely has, you know, the utmost respect for women's wrestlers, which is why, since, you know, he's, you know, more or less in direct control of NXT, which is why NXT, when it comes to women's wrestling, is a far superior product to the main roster, which is essentially under Vince's sway. Which is, again, which is why some people are wanting Triple H to take the reins from Vince, you know, earlier than, you know, Vince kicking it. So.
Yeah, because, like, you can understand what I'm trying to say is, like, it's just weird how, like, they're fully accepting it, and they're not really trying to change it until the fans started complaining.
Well, there's only so much I'm guessing there's only so much they could do within the company without, you know, because let's say, like, yeah, they want more respect, more pay, but ultimately this is a paying job, though. Like, they still get a check if they wrestle or not. Because, like, even the lowest end wrestler still has kind of like a monthly back end, like, in their check that they get no matter if they're used or not. I mean, I think if they show up on TV, they earn a little more, and then they get a bonus if they're on a pay-per-view, if I recall. But in the end, even if you're not being used, you're still getting a check each month. And I don't think anybody really wanted to rock the boat and potentially wind up getting fired for it. Up until the whole Divas started give Divas a chance thing started then, because then the company really couldn't ignore it anymore because the fans were, you know, up in arms about it, and then we had AJ tweeting to Steph about it, and that kind of blew the whole thing wide open, and I guess it became kind of a safe topic to talk about within the company now.
So the thing that I'm going to say is, do you think that the way AJ approaches it is why maybe other divas kind of hate... Like, we've argued this in the past before, especially when she cut that promo on them, and it was kind of ad-libbed and it pissed them all off when she said about being a real women's champion. Do you think it's the problem is that, like, they were so used to being beat under the bush that they didn't want it to be radically changed because it seemed like AJ could hurt their jobs as well as her own?
In a sense, yeah. I mean... Like, even, like, I'm trying to remember, last year when AJ was at some convention, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was one of the Wizard Worlds, I believe, but I don't know which one. A fan asked her about her infamous kind of pipe bomb promo on the Divas division, and AJ actually revealed that there was originally planned to be a follow-up to it, but they scrapped it because apparently some of the Divas were actually very personally offended by her promo. So that might say something.
Do you think it's because AJ is treating things a little bit too radically?
Possibly, yeah, it could. But then again, like, AJ's never been one to, you know, shall we say, sugarcoat things, and unless she's being crazy, AJ. But this wasn't crazy, AJ. This was, this was legit, like wrestling, like longtime wrestling fan AJ speaking though.
And do you think that's kind of the bad thing for AJ, is that she's more smarkish than Natalya, the queen bitch?
Well, the difference is, there was this AJ's, like, been a lifelong fan, whereas Natty was kind of born into, you know, the Hart dynasty, which is a bit of a different situation. You know, because Natalya had to be involved in wrestling because she was, born into the Hart family. Whereas AJ didn't, but she was still, a gigantic fan of it. And like you said, she entered wrestling school at age 16, I think, and worked her way up from developmental in OVW, I believe, and FCW, up until she landed on NXT and eventually up to the main roster.
Yeah.
Whereas, I know Natty had to work quite hard to get into the company. I know she said that, but she was born into wrestling. AJ wasn't.
I know. And do you think that the reasons why there's that difference is that a lot of these divas aren't really hired because they want to be wrestlers, They're kind
Well,
of like
yeah,
brought
yeah,
in due to
that
like
kind of stems, like I said, with recently with Vince tending to prefer hiring on these like fitness models and training them to wrestle as opposed to wanting to get actual like wanting to get actual like actual female wrestlers on, which is something that again which has been better in recent times,
yeah.
and it has been a lot better in recent times, but there's still kind of artifacts of that thinking around, but. I mean, we did get some great wrestlers out of that. I mean, we got Celeste Bonin out of that, Caitlyn. So, it's always great, but...
Yeah, because the thing is, I think the biggest issue is because they're chose to be models, or some are weightlifters and stuff. The ones that are not really
I know
into
Natty
it right away.
before, but...
Well, no. What I'm trying to say is the ones that are not really into it right away. I think that's also another reason why there's like that gripe with AJ, is because she wants to do it, and the others kind of didn't seem like it. Especially when you look at how the Bellas are treated by the fans and social media and other people. It's like a lot of people just don't like the Bellas because they kind of gold dig their way into the business.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we haven't really seen them work for a lot of things, except when they finally started getting their championships, which, when they first got them a long time ago, that was cool. Then they kind of became stale, and now they're really prevalent. And a lot of people believe it's because of John Cena and Daniel Bryan, and of course it probably is, politicking. And I think a lot of people are kind of, like, people like AJ are kind of pissed about that on the inside, when it comes to the whole give Divas a chance thing. Because she was trying to push it before it was a thing. And she was turned down by her colleagues. And now I think it's kind of weird that her colleagues are on board because they realized the fans wanted them on board. Like, I gotta say, it's very different, you know? Like, it's an entire year and a half, almost a year and a half later or something like that. And now the other divas are waking up because I think it's because of the movement of the fans.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's sadly because of the show Total Divas that they finally realized they were kind of being treated as a joke.
Yeah, because, like, I've always said, like, I enjoy Total Divas, but kind of because it does show us the lives we kind of behind the scenes, but it also... It does show the Divas in an unfavorable light, but it can also show them in a favorable light, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on your kind of thing. Like, I watch it mostly for the hilarity, like, because some of the stuff is hilarious on there. Especially, like, when they're at work. And, okay, no, that's not really right. Basically, I just enjoy it because sometimes, it's actually quite hilarious, in light of, what we know about them, like, in kayfabe. It's kind of hilarious seeing, like, the things to the contrary. Or how they how they do things at work, especially when male suit and yeah, I mean I know myself and the chair like to play the game of what random male superstars can we spot in the background of the episode.
It's kind of interesting just how it works. It really is. I mean, I'm just kind of shocked and confused with the whole give Divas a chance movement, because it was something that we were asking for like an entire year ago. It's kind of like how Project is complaining about the whole Goldust versus Stardust problem, or the Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes thing. It seems like it's been delayed. The movements or the storylines have just been delayed. And I'm all for it, because one thing is AJ can wrestle, Natalya can wrestle, but Natalya's just kind of a bitch. Summer Rae can wrestle, Emma can wrestle, Brie now can wrestle, Nikki's been able to wrestle, Naomi's able to wrestle, so you have something that you can do. Alicia Fox can wrestle, you fired Oksana who could wrestle, you made Caitlyn not want to be there, so she left and started her business with her husband, and that's actually quite successful. So, I mean, they dropped the ball on a lot of things. WWE really dropped the ball with the women's division. Yes, it's because of Vince, but at the same time, they're a joke. I mean, the only thing I watch technically TNA for is the Knockout division and the few TNA superstars that I like. I sit there because I watch the ones that are still technically loyal to Impact Wrestling. The guys that didn't leave because of, like, AJ Styles, Kaz, or Kazarian, Daniels, or Samoa Joe. I mean, Robert Roode's still there. James Storm is still there, and that's all I'm saying. It's like a better women's division, and they only got like five women. Wait, no. Angelina Love, Madison Rayne, Taryn Terrell, Gail Kim, Awesome Kong, Havoc, and Brooke Tessmacher. So, oh yeah, they have 7. They have 7. Oh yeah, no, Rebel. So they have 8. Visible Ninja. They have 8. And WWE has more than that.
Oh yeah, but arguably
right?
they have the far better division though.
Who?
The Knockouts.
Yeah, they actually have wrestling, you know?
Yeah. You know what I was
so it's one...
Yeah.
It's just one giant cluster F. And it's annoying.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, though, I kind of hope that the Totals Divas Give Divas a Chance movement actually works. Maybe it'll actually show Ava Marie and Cameron not suck anymore.
That's a tall order.
Maybe. Okay, we'll just go with the ones that matter.
Like even Marie, like she
All right,
doesn't even have like even a spark of talent. Like Cameron, like I said, yeah, she's been working down in developmental, which you know is good because she's trying to improve. But even Marie just doesn't seem like it.
Ava Marie has a physical figure for wrestling. Like I've seen, like she's bulked up. She has got some muscle on her, but she also has the figure of a model and the personality of, well, maybe a block of wood. I don't know. It's kind of hard to gauge what really goes on in her mind. Maybe that hair dye went to her brain.
Could be.
I have nothing else I can say.
Yeah, I think we pretty much.
Any last thoughts?
Yeah, I think we've pretty much gone over that territory like 15 times. So let's wrap it up, shall we?
All right then.
So, Mr. Chair, where may we be able to find you on social medias?
Well, you can find me on YouTube and Twitter at Wheelchair21. My Instagram is Taja_Doyle. Visible Ninja, over to you.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at VisibleNinja1, Instagram VisibleNinja0, and YouTube Visible Ninja. And once again, thanks for tuning in to WRW. As always, tune in next time when we have more to talk about, the latest happenings in wrestling, and perhaps a little more. It's Mania season, and who knows what's going to happen from here. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to check out Hirotaku.com and Raju Nihon. See you later.
And don't forget to follow us on Twitter.
And follow us on Twitter, WRW the podcast.
Or the bottom of the stairs.